It was Fashion Week in London, and I was very busy. I was in a shop window for the first time when there was a party, and there was parties throughout the week, and it was fun. I was drinking, there was girls, and all the attention was on me, and I was earning money. I was walking shows. It was brilliant. It was all I ever wanted for a long time. Anyway, it's the end of the week. We're at the last party where I'm in the shop window, and I'm there, and I have to go to Manchester the next day for another day's work. And it all just feels like there's so many overwhelming emotions that I leave early from the shop that is throwing a party because I'm in the window of it. I leave early. I get a bargain bucket from KFC. I go to the hotel and I cry, because there's all these different emotions, but also there was a real feeling of, is this it?
Hello, namaste. Welcome to another episode of For Soul's Sake, a conversation in which we aim to give you holistic, truthful, honest conversation on all things wellness, spirituality, the tangent between material life and spiritual life. We have amazing guests that come from all over the world to come and educate us, to help us grow together, to help us learn together, to share their experiences of spiritual practices and also
to
love. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Bobby Brazier, the son of the late television star Jade Goody and her former partner Jeff Brazier. Bobby Jack possesses a remarkable blend of talent, charm, and resilience. He's smiling ear to ear already. Growing up in the public eye, he has faced unique challenges and responsibilities with extraordinary maturity and determination. Bobby's striking resemblance to his late mother, Jade Goody, is evident, and he has gracefully embraced the legacy that she's left behind. Notably, he recently joined the cast of the iconic BBC One soap opera, EastEnders, bringing his talent to a wider audience. Bobby's made significant impact collaborating with esteemed fashion brands and photographers to showcase his unique style and commanding presence. However, his interests and pursuits extend far beyond the superficial aspects of fame. Bobby's exploration of spirituality and personal growth has allowed him to share profound insights on affirmations, chakras, and the power of grounding oneself. His introspective and thoughtful approach to life adds depth and meaning to his journey in the spotlight. Bobby, this is going to be an epic convo. I'm excited. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful. This is a real blessing and a great opportunity, and I love spending time with you too.
Oh.
I like being in your association. So.
And yours.
Yeah.
I can tell, man, you're a special individual because you've got so much going for you in the world externally, but internally you're on a journey that is really it's going to teach so many people along the way. And so I'm just deeply, deeply grateful that you've chosen to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you. It feels like I've got more going on for me internally than I do externally. And as you say, there's a lot going on externally, but that internal journey, not just for me, for everyone, is everything, I think.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you for being a part of it. It's actually really funny how we first met.
Yeah.
You were
part of the audience for an event, right?
Yeah.
And we're just taking questions and answers from the audience, and then I think Bobby put his hand up and he goes, "I don't have a question. I just want to ask, can I be your friend?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Okay.
We were talking about spiritual association and the importance of friends, and you both have a similar purpose and you both know what each other want and you can help each other, And we were talking about that. So I said, this might sound silly, but I think it's the obvious thing to do. Can we be friends?
We're friends, man.
And look where we are.
But I want to ask, was it always like that? Or did you always have an interest in spirituality? Were you always like kind of one foot in one boat, one foot in the other?
Well, I think for me it was more, I think I had to.
Wow.
Yeah, I always knew I had good qualities and I always kind of respected those things about myself. But as a teenager, by the time I'd finished school, I'd really lost sight of those things. And I'd gradually turn into a person that I didn't respect so much. And I finished school, weren't allowed to go back to the college that I was going to go to. And this was during Corona time. So it was perfect timing because I had 2 years of solitude to just look at myself and say, okay, your dad spoke about meditation before. You've kind of seen it, bits of it growing up. Do it. So I started with maybe 10 minutes a day 4 years ago.
What kind of meditation was it that you were doing then?
Probably just sitting still.
Wow.
Just sitting still and slowly learning how to not resist thoughts and let them come. And I don't know, over the course of 4 years, you can imagine there's been so many different paths that I've stepped into and things that I've learned, and now I'm here and I'm coming to Bhakti.
Wow, that's far out, man. I mean, when it comes to people taking time in solitude, I think that was really powerful, because I just recently had a dear friend, Jay Shetty. He did his London show, and one of the things he speaks about in the show is the distinct difference between being alone and solitude. And when we speak about loneliness, it's a very scary place to be. It's a very it's something that I don't think anyone wants to be alone or lonely. But one thing that he really impressed upon people was the need for solitude, the need for understanding what is your value system, the need for being clear about who you are. And I think that's really powerful when you hear people say that, I took time in solitude. I think more people need to do that, right?
For sure, it did everything for me. Those 2 years and those kind of being forced into solitude, because I lived in the countryside, didn't drive, had nowhere to go, no job, no college or anything. So I was kind of forced to it. And I'm still so grateful for that, because that has everything to do with where I am now and where I'm going. And it was actually solitude that taught me that I'm never alone. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's far
Just heard myself say that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I told you, you're profound, man.
But yeah, no, solitude and loneliness are definitely not the same thing.
Yeah.
Solitude is beautiful. There's nothing to be scared of when it comes to that at all. So.
Yeah. Any advice for someone that is seeking solitude and what they should do and how they should healthily go about it?
I think the more you step into solitude, the more you'll want to. And it won't feel like you're forcing to, because you'll see, oh my God, this isn't scary, this is lovely. It's like anything, it's always the first step. So I'd say just maybe even go on a walk or do something on your own, you know? People never do anything on their own. They only sleep on their own or brush their teeth on their own or whatever, or scroll their phone on their own, where they're not really even on their own.
And even that is like crowded loneliness. Like you're surrounded by so many people online, so many different people trying to contact you. Or even just being in like a mass group of friends, you may be with so many people, but there's this feeling of crowded loneliness and feeling like, this doesn't really feel like me.
Yeah.
But most people just don't address that. It's just like, no, let me just go through the circus of life.
Yeah.
Everyone else is with these, with their friends, so I should be with the, quote unquote friends.
That's not what it's about, man. It's tough. It's really tough.
How have your friends found it? What your nearest and dearest thought about like your journey of spirituality and meditation and that kind of jam?
Well, they just think, oh, it's Bob. It's just Bob.
It's just Bob.
Yeah, I guess so. Obviously, I've made so many different friends along the way, because, like attracts like. And, I've made lots of different friends, but it's just Bob, I think they think. Yeah. And I'm kind of, you said prior to recording, like, I try to be as relatable as possible, because I'll be reading stuff or hearing stuff or thinking of stuff that even 6 months ago, a year ago, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about, and it would just sound really far out. So,
is there anything that's striking you at the moment that you've read, or something that's like really kind of striking you?
I could speak about it all day.
Yeah, let's go for it.
How God is so kind that after lifetimes of turning away from him, he still puts himself in our hearts and is there waiting for us to come back and guide us and support us and show us what we've always had, But in the material world, that kind of loyalty and friendship doesn't exist, If someone turned away from me and said, no, I don't need you, let me go and find whatever it is I'm looking for away from you. I don't need you. After a couple of weeks, you're saying, see you later, mate, I want nothing to do with you. But lifetimes we've been doing that. And he's still there, just ready to love us and support us and yeah.
Dearest friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often tell the story that there's once a man, I think it's a Christian proverb, I don't know where it comes from actually, but that's what I've heard, that there are two people walking side by side with each other on a beach. One's God, one is the other, just a regular Joe like me and you. And the person asks God, why is it that in the good times I see two sets of footprints in the sand? I see yours and mine side by side. We're walking together. In the good times, I feel your presence so clearly, so near. But one thing, God, why is it that in the bad times I only see one set of footprints in the sand? And God responds, yeah, in the good times we walk side by side, but in the bad times when you only see one set of footprints in the sand, they're mine as I carry you for this moments of frustration, the moments of darkness, etc. And that concept of Mama Bandhu, my dearest friend, my closest, my nearest person, seated within my heart, always present, that divinity, the absolute truth, God, whatever name it is that you have for that, is so close and ever accessible. Every moment I can turn to God. Any moment I can turn to my divine best friend.
Yeah, it's such a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's been probably, for me anyway, that's when you were speaking, I almost was like tearing up, because that for me is like the way I see God, a long lost friend, someone that I have in one sense forgotten about. But every time I just remember, or just like a mental image comes through, or while you're speaking, a mental image came through, my divine best friend, and I just felt super connected again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, it's just so much energy comes through, so much joy comes through. You just feel like, yeah, there's nowhere better to be.
Yeah, that's really
I'm in a podcast studio, but I'm with my divine best friend right now.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. Was chanting something that was weird for you? Like, because I know that that's part of your practicing, like chanting mantra.
Yeah.
And was that kind of like trippy the first time you tried it? And
Well, it was definitely new, because at the start of, I guess, my meditation journey, it was just about being silent. And I now realize it was just meditating on a void, on a sense of nothingness. But now chanting on a mantra, I would never think to meditate on nothing again, The power of the name is incredible. I can't really comprehend how he's so powerful that his name is healing. So yeah, now it just feels like the only thing to do.
yeah.
And I like something you say mantra over mind. And that
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that. When I was like young, I remember like I went to India and I saw this picture on a what's called on a newsletter of like this bare chested person, like no t-shirt, sitting in a cave and meditating. And I was like wondering to myself, I was like, what are they thinking about? Like, and so I went to India and I was like early teens, 11, 12 years old. And I went into this cave that was up a mountain. And my parents were like, what are you doing? I was like, just give me like 10 minutes. I just want to just try this one thing. Maybe I'll have it. And internally, I was like, maybe I'll have a deep, profound moment, So I didn't take my t-shirt off because I was like, that's too far. But I went into the cave, I sat down and I tried to just close my eyes and just be. And romantically, for the first like minute, I was like, this is sick. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But after a good like 5 minutes, I was like, I'm a little bit bored right now. Like,
Right.
I don't know what, I'm just hearing like the sounds of India go by. I'm hearing all the sounds of the world go by. Like, what am I meant to be thinking about? It just gave me, I just felt really lost. And that experience put me back 5 years, because I just stopped doing anything spiritual from then to like when I was 16.
Okay. I thought that whole sense of being, like I've really spent a long time in that sense of being. And I thought it was beautiful. I got really good at it and I could just
Snap
be,
out.
But then I started to think about, okay, I can be, and I understand that it led me to understanding a lot about false ego and that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, the soul is eternal. But then it's only a matter of time you start thinking about, okay, what do I do for eternity? And then that's when I started to come into the idea and I guess Krishna consciousness. And it's about true spirituality now, for me, is a service. And it's serving Krishna and hearing Krishna and chanting Krishna and talking Krishna. You know, there's a more active element to it. Because when it was all about being, doing took me away from that.
Wow.
But now this is a way to merge the being and the doing, and
that is profound.
You know, the spiritual and the material, they're like that. But in just being all the time, the doing kind of
distracts you.
Yeah, but you avoid the doing as well, you know. And
What's
now
the point
doing
of
can be
doing?
an act of service, which I'm learning now. Yeah, it's really great.
That's far out, man.
Yeah, it's really great.
You said something about the false ego, and you know, like that's something that I think a lot of people will be like, "What? The false ego? Like that sounds really weird." Ego being the true identity, like ego is defined as identity, and false means that which is not. So that which is not my identity is false ego. So what is not my identity, according to the Vedic scriptures, is I am not this body and I'm not this mind, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people listening to this that would go, well, how does one go about deciphering or uncovering those layers of I'm not the body, I'm not the mind? And you mentioned about doing, and that, you know, you can somehow doing spiritual activity, doing Krishna Bhakti, Krishna consciousness, filling your awareness with divinity, filling your awareness with God consciousness, that peels away the layers.
Yeah.
But are there any practices, like say someone's like, thinking, this sounds super cool, I want to be like Bobby, I want to be Bobby, you know, I want to look like Bobby, I want to talk like Bobby, I want to meditate like Bobby. What would be the first step for that person? What do you think like would be the first thing that they would?
Well,
I've thrown you in it, man.
you have. I can't answer that exactly, but something that happened for me recently was I was humbled. And that felt really, really important for anyone. To realize, like, oh my gosh, I need divinity. You know, if you don't want to call it God, then I need divinity. You know, without that, I need love, divinity, love. I need something. I need a spiritual anchor so that I don't become so lost and so much a victim to my mind and all the rest of it, you know? So I think humbly accepting that we do need something.
That's the first thing, isn't it? Recognizing
and
that.
That was huge for me. That happened it happened before, but it kind of on a new level happened recently. And I was like, wow, that what I said earlier about how he's here waiting for me and always has been and wants to show me everything that I've been turning away from. That was very humbling. And then in that moment, I was like, wow, I need you. And
Wow.
I want to serve you.
Wow. Yeah, there's no point doing if you don't realize, like there's no point doing spiritual activity if you don't even start with recognizing the need for it.
Yeah.
So the thing is that
also, like, I started because I just wanted to relax.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to meditate just because it's relaxing.
Straight up.
You know? And that's where I started, so that's not a bad place to start either, but you'll become so relaxed and you'll start doing it more and you'll just get realizations, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I hear people say that you can cut all that out and just go straight to Bhakti. I mean, do that. That'd be brilliant, but that's not how I did it.
Yeah. I think 99% people will be like that.
Yeah.
Looking for different ways. And I don't think people are looking for God in the most obvious ways. Like they're not looking to go to church. They're not looking to go to temples. They're not looking to go on pilgrimage to India. Like that was maybe the 60s and 70s. I think people are just looking for peace of mind.
Yeah.
They're looking for a way to get out of the thing that is giving them so much trouble internally.
Mm-hmm. And that takes meditation.
That takes meditation. That takes Should we do a meditation?
Yeah.
You up for it?
Yes.
I've never guided a meditation on one of these. I've always had a guest guided meditation, but I'm feeling super inspired.
You
Should we do it?
guide. I wouldn't know what to do.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to put my iPad to one side. Let me take my shoes off.
Me too.
By the way, if you are sitting on a train, don't take your shoes off. Keep your shoes on.
Oh, yeah. People might be listening on the train.
Yeah, if they might be listening.
Big up the train gang.
And big up also if you're, I was going to say the car gang too, but let's not get into gangs.
The crew, the team. The team.
If you're doing this in the car, please don't close your eyes. That could be fatal. So yeah, let's start with just sitting comfortably tall. Rolling the shoulders a few times, placing the palms.
What a blessing this is. Man. What an opportunity.
This is good fun, eh?
Yeah.
Asking everyone to please, just roll the shoulders, placing the palms facing upwards towards the ceiling and placing them on your knees. And just taking a moment to just breathe. Just breathe deeply in, breathe deeply out. With every exhale, just relaxing a little further. Letting go of all the things of your day as you breathe in and breathe out, letting go. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Closing the eyes if you can. And just breathing. Just notice the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. Notice the sensation of the oxygen as it fills your lungs. The sensation as you breathe out and allow your shoulders to drop even further. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Becoming aware that you are much more than just this body. Becoming aware that you are much more than just your mind and your thoughts. Become aware that you are a spiritual being in your essence. As you breathe in, I'd like you to imagine a light from the heart that becomes brighter. Breathing in, that light becomes brighter from the heart. And as you breathe out, that light becomes dimmer. Deep breath in, light becoming brighter. Deep breath out, light becomes dimmer. Keep doing this. Becoming more and more aware that you are more than this body, more than this mind. You're something divine. You're a spiritual being having a material experience. You're a spiritual being. A being which is filled with love, filled with happiness and joy. You're a being that's filled with inner knowing. You already know the answers. And you're a being which is eternal. You've always existed. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. sitting in this infinite space, being aware and conscious that you're a particle of divinity. You're a part and parcel of God, of divine grace. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Slowly, slowly re-entering into the material experience of life. Maybe you need to wiggle your toes just to become conscious of the body which you're situated in. Gently opening the eyes, starting by gazing at the floor, and then moving your eyesight up back towards room awareness.
What if I don't want it?
Maybe outside of podcast we can continue for the rest of our lives. Thanks for doing that.
Thank you for doing that.
And it's just that simple. I don't know how long we did that for. What was that, like 5 minutes?
5 hours.
5 hours? Were we really there for 5? No. What was that, 3.5 minutes? Something
Not
like
long
that.
at all.
About 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's amazing how just that can just shift completely your consciousness, your awareness. You just feel like you're in a totally different space. Like
Yeah.
the mind just expands. Like you feel like, yeah, how can I just be limited just to this body?
Mm.
You know? So much that can happen just in a short period of meditation.
And even simpler than that, you're just calmer. And that's what a lot of
Yeah.
people need before their day. Or it was 5 minutes you can do that sitting at a desk, you know? It just brings you back to presence and back to here,
I think the world would be a better place if everyone just meditated for 5 minutes in the morning.
for sure.
It's just trying to get people to do 5 minutes of meditation.
Mm.
Everyone's just too busy. How do you navigate it? Like being on EastEnders and being a spiritual, aspiring person? Like, how do you do that? Do you just like section your life out? Like, this is this life and this is this life?
Well, anytime I'm at home, it's just chanting. Chanting makes it so easy
Really?
because I'm going to be thinking anyway. So why don't I just think of the mantra, you know? And once, that just makes so much sense for me now. I've started to, you know, reap some benefits of chanting and seeing what it does and just how beautiful it is. And also meeting myself a little bit deeper as a servant. It just feels like, what else am I going to do? And at work, I'm lucky that, you know, sometimes I'll be in my dressing room or sometimes I won't need to be on set. There's always an opportunity to chant. Even on the train going to work, in the car, there's always an opportunity.
Mm.
So it's not hard to find the time. No one's ever too busy to meditate. Ever.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of people that say, I just don't have time for it.
It's not true.
I'm like, yeah. If you feel that busy and you feel like your mind is that active, it means you need it more.
Yeah, 100%.
You
100%.
need to carve out that time way more.
But also what I'm starting to learn now and try to do now is give my work as an act of service to Krishna.
Wow.
So it's not, I don't have to be sat in silence with my eyes shut, chanting to be serving. I can actually set the intention of, my dear Lord, I give you the fruits of my labor, you know.
Wow.
Do this because this is an opportunity you've given me and to purify my consciousness. You know, karma yoga, it's a opportunity to purify our consciousness.
Mm.
So that's great as well. There's always an opportunity to become a little bit purer.
I wish there were more people like you, young, talented, clearly, you know,
Charming, good looking.
charming, blah, 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 but also deeply conscious, like just aware that the world is illusory and that the world is temporary and that there's something much greater just waiting on the tip of your tongue.
And so much more beautiful and fulfilling.
Yeah. And we're not taking, I mean, when, I don't know about you, but I'm not like smoking anything.
No,
I'm completely
people
clean.
always say, "Are you high?" to me. Always.
Bro, you sent me a video where you were chanting. I was like, I reckon this guy might secretly be puffing on something.
I'm not, I promise. I promise.
I know you're not, but
But I have a story I'd like to say.
Please.
That I think people that don't necessarily meditate,
Yeah.
like, they'll be able to see something in that. I'm very lucky that a lot of my dreams from a young age have come true. And it was fashion week in London, and I was very busy. I was in a shop window for the first time, and there was a party, and there was parties throughout the week, and it was fun. I was drinking, there was girls, and all the attention was on me, and I was earning money. I was walking shows. It was brilliant. It was all I ever wanted for a long time. Anyway, it's the end of the week. We're at the last party where I'm in the shop window, and I'm there, and I have to go to Manchester the next day for another day's work. And it all just feels like there's so many overwhelming emotions that I leave early from the shop that is throwing a party because I'm in the window of it. I leave early. I get a bargain bucket from KFC. I go to the hotel and I cry, because there's all these different emotions, but also there was a real feeling of, is this it? And it it was great. There's a huge lesson in that, and more relevant now. Like, I wanted to be an actor. I'm an actor now, apparently. And it's the same thing. All my fulfillment, all the purpose I feel is way closer to home than that. Way closer. It doesn't take, earning X amount, wearing this, doing this, having this amount of eyes on you, or anything like that to be happy. And that's the blessing of happiness, that everyone can feel it. That happiness is kind. It's not subject to material things, Can you imagine if happiness did work like that?
It would suck.
If it was a game and you got like 10 XP of happiness for every Gucci belt you had. That'd be terrible, right? It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I think we need more people like you just to say that more often. Because imagine there's so many young people out there that are deeply desiring that, but may never reach that. And feel like they're failing because they never reached the pinnacle of material success. And when those who have material success can just validate and say, it's not about this. Like, I thought it was really powerful when, who's that comedian that, Jim Carrey, it's definitely Jim Carrey. He went out and he said that the material world is just an ocean of illusion, something to that effect. And just spoke about how it's demeaning to just go, this is all there is. And I found that really powerful. I was like, we need more people like that. That's why I love Russell. Russell Brand, he's fully out and out talking about spirituality, community at its heart, being in power, not just depending on the government to make rules for you, to be autonomous about your journey, your life's journey, and all these kind of things. It just brings me so much happiness that finally we're in a place where that's happening, like an awakening from those who are sitting in the power seat of media and in the remote control of people's homes, that those people are saying stuff. So I'm just really proud of you, to be honest.
Thank you. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
It's deeply, deeply profound, to be honest. How do you deal with name and fame? Because that's something that this is a candid show, and I'm here to be honest. It's something that I struggle with. I do find it difficult to reciprocate with people that show a lot of love without being fake in return with them. Like, for example, at my concert, at the end of it, everyone wants to come and you want to hug and say thank you. And I'm trying to be deeply authentic with that person. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's going, oh yeah, soak it up, soak it up. Like, how do you deal with name and fame?
I think I always have. And also I wanted it. So I've just been given what I want. I think it's like anything. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's just the last thing I want to deal with. But I kind of just deal with it because I have to. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like I'm actively dealing with something. It just feels like a part of my experience.
Have you had to deal with that criticism as well?
Yeah.
How have you dealt with that?
But it goes, doesn't it? You face it, and it might not feel great for a minute, but you forget about it as quickly as you see it, you know? But also, I get that not everyone can do that. I'm lucky. The understand a deeper understanding of who I am really helps with that. You know, not identifying with opinions and ideas and what other people think of me, or even what I think of myself, means that I'm not so much a victim to that.
Wow.
But sometimes it's horrible, but just way less horrible now of that.
You feel more stabilized.
Way more stabilized. Yeah. Just grounded in a sense of contentment and cool. Not all the time.
Yeah. I do want to ask about it because it's on my mind. And I know that a lot of people will also be intrigued and interested. Your journey with grief and loss. And also as a spiritualist now. I know that you're going to say that, yeah, this process really helped me. But are there any simple things that someone that's going through grief right now you recommend to those people?
Oh, I wish I had something. I wish I had a lot to say. For me, accepting the nature of life and the body, you know, it's like it was always temporary, and I want to try and be relatable with this, because the answer is spiritual, but that's not always relatable, you know. So, I guess talk to the people that have also gone through it and might be going through it with the same family member or friend or whoever it is, someone else that knew that person. Talk to them. But I heard recently, it might be less relatable, I'm sorry.
That's cool.
Material problems don't have material solutions. And I think the solution is in taking shelter in divinity. And understanding that the temporary nature of the body and anything material, it was never, you know, my mum was never my mum. She was never mine. I didn't own her, you know. And that which she is, her essence, hasn't changed, hasn't gone anywhere. She was that before she was my mum. And she was that after she was my mum. And during, you know. So I think there was a few things there, and I hope.
No, I think there's. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that deeply. If there was a message that you could share, I mean, we're going to go into some quick fire questions, which is going to totally shift the gears here.
yeah.
But if there's a message that you wanted to share before we go into the quick fire message, that is something that's deeply on your mind. I mean, we've spoken about a lot of things that are personal to you that you maybe want to leave people with.
Yeah, recently it's been humility and accepting that we need divinity. Also, the nature of happiness and distress materially. Apparently that's karmic, you know, there's nothing we can do about it.
Like the seasons.
Yeah, and there's nothing we can do about it other than through self-realization, through the purificatory process, we can stay grounded in the middle of the happiness and the distress, you know? And that's a transcendental kind of contentment and happiness that is way better than that. than the material happiness.
Oofed. What a message. You heard it here first. All right. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
My guy, this is going to be fun. All right.
How quick?
One word, one sentence. So, I mean, if it gets interesting, we always...
As quick as I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. To be honest, like I always say quick fire, and those who listen to this regularly will know that I'm a bit of a pansy with that.
Well, I'm going quick.
Okay.
I'm going quick.
All right. Let's do this. Question number 1. What's something that you are personally working through at the moment?
Oh, I thought you said quick fire.
No.
Work. Trying to balance spirituality and work, and also trying to learn how to act, because I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
What are you talking about? In short, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Something loving. Lead with love. I guess what I said earlier about what did I just say?
Humility.
No. That the fulfillment comes from within. It's nearer than any of this
Transitory stuff.
Yeah. That's
Inner
important.
Fulfillment. Yeah, living a life of inner fulfillment and sharing that with others. Beautiful legacy. Something you used to deeply value, but don't value anymore.
Fame. Yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity, but if it's used for what it's meant to be used for. But in a lot of senses, fame.
Final one. If you could create one law that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
Chant your rounds. Chant your rounds.
Spoken like a true Bhakti yogi.
That was my quickest one.
Yeah. Keep it easy, keep it simple. Chant the mantra, be happy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bobby. It's been a pleasure. I mean, please keep doing what you're doing. Keep being a flag bearer. Keep being someone that is of the world, but giving people the message that that you're in the world. Sorry, keep being a person in the world, but keep reminding people that they're not of it.
Yeah.
That they're not of this world.
Yeah.
And keep reminding people of that. And I mean, I'm just deeply grateful that we're friends. And,
Yeah, me too.
we can hang out and let's chant more together. I think that'd be quite nice. Let's pencil in a date to chant together.
Let's do it. See what happens when you ask someone to be your friend.
It turns out they're on a podcast the next week. Thank you all so much for listening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for tuning in, for hopefully finding something that was going to give you spiritual strength in the week that follows. If you want to check out any of the stuff that Bobby's doing, he's on all social platforms, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And soon enough, he'll be sharing spirituality on those platforms too. Before you know it, you'll be seeing him preaching on there. So please do give him a follow.
Also, this is very superficial. I've been nominated for an NTA award.
Oofed.
Vote for me.
NTA. Let's get him an NTA. Everyone that's listening to this, please go on to, where do they go? National Television Awards?
Yeah.
Okay, just Google that. Find Bobby's name. Give him a vote. Let's get spirituality all the way to the top of TV charts. Thank you all so much for being here. See you next week for another episode of For Soul's Sake. Namaste. Haribol. Lots of love.
Haribol.
Bye-bye.
For soul's sake, for soul's sake, for soul's